Hi, I'm Raina Morgan with iHealthTube, visiting with Dr. Rappaport. Dr. Rappaport, for people who feel a lack of energy, because fatigue is a common complaint today, how would ATP, peak ATP, affect them, help them out?
The major factor in which peak ATP acts is in stimulation of blood flow. And the stimulation of blood flow does stimulate the disposal of oxygen, nutrients, mostly glucose, into skeletal muscle, along with the removal of waste products such as lactic acid and ammonia. Now, the stimulation of oxygen disposal, of course, has a major effect on fatigue. The other factor is the perception of fatigue. And this has to do with the stimulation of the cerebral circulation. In other words, the brain has a major effect, or the effect of the circulation on metabolism and function has a tremendous effect on the perception of fatigue. But let's talk about the physical aspects of fatigue itself.
Okay, that would be good.
One aspect is, of course, oxygen. And as we have seen, and we can't talk about it long enough, stimulation of blood flow means stimulation of oxygen disposal into hypoxic muscles. And muscles, excuse me, muscles, when they work continuously, what we call endurance, seem to be in the demand of oxygen and sugar. The reason that sugar is so important, or glucose is so important for the enduring or endurance type exercise that produces fatigue, is because the energy inside the muscle is generated by three different ways: of beta oxidation of fatty acids, oxidation of pyruvate. Those two occur in the mitochondria, which is an organelle inside the muscle fiber, or by the oxidation of glucose that produces ATP, but can produce ATP anaerobically, in other words, without the presence of oxygen.
Without oxygen.
So it does not depend on blood flow.
Okay.
And this is really the preferred way to produce energy. Not only is it the preferred way, but this is the normal way in which skeletal muscle produces energy, not through the recovery period, but through the actual fast contraction that occurs within millisecond range.
Oh, really? And that takes place without oxygen?
That takes place without oxygen by the breakdown of glycogen, into sugar, and then the sugar is broken down into three. The glucose has 6 carbon units, and it's broken down into 2 3-carbon units, which then provide the energy to produce ATP.
Which will alleviate the perception of fatigue? Give us the sensation of more energy?
It would give us the sensation of more energy, but the perception of fatigue also has to do with the effect of recovery.
Recovery, okay.
And the recovery is also dependent on the oxygen-induced ATP synthesis inside muscle cells, namely beta oxidation of fatty acids and the oxidation of pyruvate, along with the removal of waste products. Mm-hmm. The removal of waste products is extremely important in the perception of fatigue, or in the fatigue itself, because the lactic acidosis, the accumulation of lactic acid in the muscle, is one of the major causes of fatigue and muscle pain. Along with the presence of ammonia that is due to the synthesis of NO from arginine. Now, stimulation of blood flow has to do with the enhanced removal of these two agents. Now, again, I'd like to emphasize this. The stimulation of blood flow and the stimulation of sugar uptake into the muscle cell are the major factors that enhance the removal of waste products and the disposal of oxygen and hexose or glucose into the muscle.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rappaport.